Welcome to Echoes of Enlightenment, where we talk about spirituality, life lessons, and overall self-development. In today's episode, we'll be discussing the consequences of stunted maturity. In today's episode, I want to talk about the consequences of immaturity in adults. See, as kids, we use immaturity because that's a part of learning. Being immature as a kid is a part of learning. You're not going to make the right decisions, and you shouldn't be expected to make a lot of the right decisions. You're reasoning. You're learning reasoning. You're learning sharing. You're learning fairness. And then that's all a part of, building relationships, because you're going to have to incorporate all those different things you learn in your relationships. And then also the consequences are much lower when someone's immature at a young age. The consequences are much lower. Like one person goes down a slide twice, 2 times in a row. That's not fair, but somebody might be upset because they're supposed to be taking turns. And that's okay. That's just the level of being, immature. You're not mature yet. You're still learning. But as you grow up, that's when you are supposed to mature. That's when you're supposed to have learned all these lessons from when you were a kid. You're supposed to understand what sharing and fairness, forgiving, understanding, just a lot of stuff that, you grow into. You understand that stuff. That's why you're mature. That's why those are 2 separate words. You're mature now. That means you've graduated from immature. And the reason why being immature as an adult has so many consequences is because there's a lot at stake as an adult. You don't just not get to go down the slide second or first this time. There's houses on the line as an adult. There's cars, there's jobs, there's kids. That's why we try to make mature decisions. That's why you're hopefully a mature adult. Because if you act immature as an adult, you make spur of the moment decisions that could be lifelong consequences to relationships and things. Like if you don't agree with something one of your friends said, that doesn't mean you go and call their job and get them fired. You see what I'm saying? That's where the immature level is. It's not being able to measure the situation. That's the consequence of being an adult that's immature. You can't rationalize correctly. You're off. You feel like everything deserves the max penalty. That's why it's important to grow out of immaturity, because if it's 2 adults and y'all both have some stuff, whether you're immature or not, you still know you had to work for it to get what both of y'all had to work for, whatever you have. Now, if you're willing to just override that and make a drastic move to get back at somebody, knowing how hard it took to get whatever they got, because you know how hard it took to get whatever you got. The maturity level would be to be like, all right, let me go sit down. Let me take a break from this person for a while. Yes, we're in an argument, but a mature person would be like, we'll get over this. This is not the end of the world. An immature person also lacks consequences. They don't understand what the consequences of their decision is, especially if they get away with it for a while. That fuels them to believe that there's no consequences and, they can do whatever they want to do. As they get away with the immaturity acts that they do towards different people, it fuels them to continue to do immature acts. That becomes a way of life for them. Because being immature is almost, well, it is an easy way to get a win. You can get what you want, but it's hitting below the belt. When somebody's immature, it's hitting below the belt. It's like, you know better. You don't have to go that far. But they'll go that far because they get that instant gratification. But what they don't understand is just because you're not getting judged in like the court of law here on the 3D, there's a spiritual court that's being held at the same time when you make different decisions. That's under the law of karma. You got to think about it. You got to think about some of your actions. When you're making moves and treating different people different ways in the 3D and you're not getting busted for it, doesn't mean you're getting away with it. You got to remember that you're also being judged by God. God sees all. You gotta watch what you're doing, because you're gonna get that back. And the reason why some people don't never learn, never mature, is because when karma comes back to get them, instead of them taking accountability, being like, taking a mature road, being like, that's what I get for doing what I did to whoever, or, acknowledging that could be a possibility, that this crazy thing is happening to them because of how they treated somebody else. They'll just blame it on somebody else and says, well, see, that's the reason why I do what I do, because look what happens to me. They can't put two and two together. The reason why they can't put the two and two together is because they lack accountability. That's what stops everything in its tracks right there. That's the cheat code right there to change everything. And it's also the hardest for people to incorporate into their life. If you're able to be accountable for some of the things that you do, you're able to call judgment on yourself instead of having somebody else call judgment on you. You can check yourself, be like, oh yeah, my bad. Dang, I didn't realize, I'm sorry. Say sorry. Whatever, just take accountability for the mistake you made. And once you start being accountable for your actions, you're going to get tired of getting on your own self, like reprimanding your own self. So that means you're going to start acting right so you don't have to keep correcting. You're teaching yourself how to be a better person. If you take accountability, if you take notice that you've done something wrong, or it doesn't matter if it's big or small, just be accountable and notice what you did, especially by people's reaction. That's how you know when you've done something wrong. If you didn't know yourself, people's reaction should wake you up, snap you out of it, and be like, oh, I accidentally pissed this person off. Either say, oh, my bad, or dang, what did I do? If you don't really know what you did, what did I do? And hopefully that person's mature and they'll be like, hey, man, I didn't, you did whatever. And if it's valid and you did whatever, be like, oh, my bad. And that goes a long way for that person. And it also goes a long way for you, because now you've learned that lesson. You won't be doing that anymore. So accountability is a cheat code to erase immaturity. It'll just wipe it away because you constantly keep checking yourself. And it also helps you remove karma or stop the karma in its tracks. You won't keep creating karma if you incorporate accountability. Take accountability for your actions. And at the same time, while you're being accountable, it's making you stronger. You're getting better. You're learning more. You're learning yourself. That's the biggest thing right there. You're learning who you are, because sometimes you don't even see what you're doing. But if you're accountable for it, you can look at it and notice like, oh, damn. And then another, like I said, the other big thing is just you're stopping karma in its tracks. And you got to realize when you stop karma in its tracks, it's still a whip coming around. You still have some stuff you have to pay for. You're just not adding to your karma. You're not adding to the karma because you've stopped. You're using accountability to help you eliminate that. You're being better, but you still have karma coming from no telling how long. You're going to have to be able to take those whoopings from karma without adding more karma to it. When they come, something happens, be like, okay, that was probably from when I did this 3 weeks ago. I remember I did that crazy thing when I was being immature. So you got that. You just got to take that and look at that as a lesson. Learn from that when it comes back to you. It might not come the same way you put it out, but it will be the equivalent. It'll be the equivalent of it for the most part. And then you might have months of karma. And it's not all going to come all at once, hopefully not. But, it'll come at different times. And just learn from those, but when something bad happens to you, don't be like, now I need to go and do something to somebody else because that's immaturity right there. Because something happens to you, you think you need to do something to somebody else. No, you got to take all this karma. Then after a while, and meanwhile, while you're getting your karma, still be doing positive things while you're moving forward. Still be doing positive things because now you're gaining good karma. You're on the up and up because then that's building. While you're even building karma, you could still be building good karma. You could still be getting hit with negative karma just because it's a whip. You've accumulated some stuff and now you're just getting it back. Then after a while, if you continue to do well and, correct yourself, use accountability to make sure, you're regulating yourself. The next thing you know, when the karma comes back around, is this dharma, it's the good stuff. You got all these wonderful things happening to you now. You're getting spanked by good positive things. You go into a store, somebody give you something for free. You get a flat tire, somebody pulls over and helps you out. Just, you know how it is. When you do good things come back around. So just start using more accountability. It makes you strong. And yes, you have to look at yourself. And it's kind of hard in the beginning if that's not what you've done in the past. And it might be a slight blow to your ego just because you have to be the problem this time. And it's not somebody else. You can't blame it on somebody else. And that's how you'll be able to conquer immaturity, slow down, and eliminate your karma, bad karma, and gain good karma. And you're on the road to be the best version of yourself. I'm going to end this right here. Until next time.